Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school.
It does, and it's funny because I haven't been traveling now that I'm back in Orlando with NXT, but like I feel like I'm busier than when I was actually traveling, which is crazy because it's like, okay, now it's other, I forget about the other aspects of, for example, when I'd go on the road on like I'd leave on a Thursday, or also I leave on Sunday to get to the town for Monday Night Raw. And I forget, I have that night in the hotel, but it's like every day now it's waking up to the kids and being a father as well. And not that I wasn't a father before, but I still had the days where I was kind of just.
All right. Welcome back to the show. The opening. See, we wanted to get any technical issues out of the way right away with this show today, so I apologize. Hey, my name is Mike Sempervive. Bryan Alvarez not here today, but you already know that. Just have a whole batch of technical issues because he's not here, so he can come back and make fun of me on those. But now that everything is fixed and straight, we're going to have a lot to get into, not the least of which, of course, is WWE Smackdown and AEW Rampage tonight. 100% less Mike Tyson on that show. And we'll get into all of it when we get back from break. Wrestling Observer Live.
Today, I am joined by Andrew Zarian, host of Mat Men, We're Live Pal, and Wrestling Observer Live on Sundays. Today, we're playing Face Morphomania. All right, so here we go. First one up. Whose two faces are morphed into this one here?
So I'm going to go Dwayne and Logan Paul.
Correct. Oh,
wow.
You did great. There you go. Logan Paul and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It really is a spitting image of both of them.
Yes.
They would have such a beautiful child.
Yeah, they would. They would. So go. Next one. Whose two faces are in this photo?
Oh, my God. So it's Vince for sure.
Yes.
I mean, Vince and somebody with a really round head for sure. So it's a celebrity, this one, right? That's wrestled?
Yes, it's a celebrity. It's a celebrity and a wrestler.
Celebrity and a wrestler. Okay.
Yes.
But the celebrity is associated with WWE.
Yes.
Okay. Man. This is hard.
I would say pay attention to the mouth and the way that the mouth is, like the wrinkles and the mouth, the ears, and just like the way the face is set up.
Is it? I mean, I was going to go with Batista and Vince, but obviously it's not Batista.
I don't know. Trust your gut, Andrew.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with Batista.
Because your gut is correct.
Yeah, look at that.
It is Batista.
Nice.
You can see it now, right?
That's a strange-looking man.
Yeah.
Not as handsome as Logan Paul and Dwayne together.
Who are the two people in this one?
Oh, okay. So it's obviously myself and John Cena here, right? That's what it is.
You got one right.
Yeah. Roman Reigns and John Cena.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we got the Bad Bunny here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Man. Now this is really hard because is Bad Bunny the wrestler or the celebrity?
So he's the celebrity.
He's the celebrity.
But there's a wrestler in here.
There is Sami Zayn?
No.
Wow.
I would say pay attention to the eyebrows and obviously the beard.
Yeah.
More so the eyebrows.
The eyebrows. Seth Rollins?
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, look at
Seth
that.
Rollins. Who are the two wrestlers in this photo?
Oh boy.
Sorry. One is a wrestler, one's a celebrity. Pardon me.
Okay, so one is Cody.
Yes, correct.
Oh, one is Cody. The other one is a celebrity.
Who has wrestled?
Who has wrestled? I'm looking at the jaw. Well, I'm looking at the hair also.
If you squint, I feel like you can see it.
Hold
you
on,
can see the celebrity.
A little bit. I mean, oh, I know who Stephen Amell.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Correct, Stephen Amell. Well, Andrew, you did.
To Wrestling Observer Live with Bryan Alvarez and Mike Sempervive on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.
Welcome back to the show. Mike Sempervive here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. We do this show right here for an hour at a time, but if you want us 24/7, you can try to find us on Twitter. I am at Sempervive. The timeline for this show is at WONF4W. The broadcaster is at Sports Byline USA, and if you love pro wrestling, at Mid-Atlantic Pod. Also, wouldn't hurt my feelings if you made the wrestling news part of your day. We give you all the up-to-date professional wrestling news that you need to get your day started or to get you up to date every single day, uploaded at approximately 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Usually anywhere between 7 and about 15 minutes long. Just go to thewrestlingnews.com and at WrestlingNewsAV on Twitter. If you want Bryan Alvarez because you missed Bryan Alvarez today, and after that first segment, I got to be honest, I couldn't blame you, but he's offering super followers or super follows to anyone who's interested in following, exclusive tweets, scoops, Q&As, and more, all with the added bonus of being a super follower of Bryan Alvarez. He's going to thank you in his mentions, and, if you're not interested, that's fine. His normal cesspool timeline remains, and I'm sure he's going to have something to say. You see on the back of this gimmick here, there's 2 plugs where you plug in the microphone. I was just in a rush, so I just threw it in this hole right here. And, as has been proven time and time again, you stick it in the wrong hole, you're going to get a negative reaction, a lot of the time. So that's unfortunately what happened there in the first segment, but we are back on track here on Wrestling Observer Live. That's the kind of professionalism that Mike Sempervive brings you every single day here on this show, at least Monday through Friday. And I got to have another mea culpa here because yesterday on the show, I was curious as to when AEW would be heading over to England and Ireland and Scotland and Wales and anywhere else they're going to go over there. And shame on me for missing Tony Schiavone's announcement during Wednesday night's Dynamite broadcast that the company has actually already decided that, and they'll be making their way over to the UK next year, their first jaunt outside North America. And I should have known, Tony Khan tweeting something yesterday about UK viewership numbers and crediting the ITV head of scheduling strategy, John Williams, and revealing that the show was up double digits since last year over year in September and October, and that the October 28th edition of the program was the most watched ever on ITV, drew an average viewership of a little over 200,000 people. So I'm not sure what the Fight TV numbers are over there, but obviously fans want them to come over. There's enough of them on our website. There's enough of them, I'm sure, listening to this show right now in the chat who would really like them to come over. And no word on dates or specific locations yet, but it only makes sense, that, and Tony Khan has said this in past interviews, that bringing AEW to London's Craven Cottage, and that's the home venue of the Fulham Football Club, which his father owns. That place fits a little under 23,000 people. So if you include field seating, that could be a gigantic show for them. It's going to be huge anyway, since it's going to be their first one. But it is a place that I'm sure he'll get a break on rent. I'm not sure how nasty the old man is about that sort of thing, and I'm not sure how many concerts or other types of things are actually taking place there. It's in London, so it's not like there's not a lot of venues around, so I'm not sure how often this thing gets used for anything other than football matches, but again, makes the most sense for AEW to go over and run at least one show. Obviously, whatever their big show, whatever their cornerstone show of that weekend or week is going to be, a Dynamite there, a pay-per-view there, something like that. It's probably going to be a pretty good atmosphere, but we'll rewind here a couple of days because everybody likes to fight over it. The ratings came out. AEW Dynamite averaged 930,000 viewers on TBS, up 2.1% from last week, but it's also the third lowest audience total for the show since July 20th. In the 18 to 49 demo, Dynamite finished 6th on the cable charts with a .32 rating, up over 10% from last week when the show went against the World Series, and that demo number equates to approximately 417,000 viewers. Essentially, these are the exact same numbers that they were doing last year with the exact same type of competition. This week's main sports competition for them came from, no surprise, the NBA, the New York Knicks, and the Brooklyn Nets on ESPN, which did a .43 in the 18 to 49 demo. That game was going on with Kyrie Irving's head assery swirling around the NBA and swirling around New York. And the other cable competition came from the talking head shows and all the political pundits talking about Tuesday's midterm elections in the United States. So Dynamite's ratings were actually up in every demo from last week. The exception was people over 50. I guess they got their fill of NXT the night before, and they were just too tuckered out to watch two wrestling shows back to back. But when you look at what keeps pro wrestling afloat, it is absolutely positively people over 50 years old. 484,000 viewers, over 50% of the viewership, 52% of the viewership. That's why I always look at the 35 to 49 numbers. The 18 to 34s are obviously important for a lot of reasons, but it's like if you can hook somebody by 34 years old, 35 years old, with all the life changes, you get married, you have kids, you change jobs, you move, you do all that sort of stuff. You have all these other real life distractions and things in going on. If you're still a wrestling fan by that point, you're pretty much going to be locked in until you die. That's at least until NXT goes off the air for that night. But quarter hours, looking at them, there were really no failures or successes. This is one of the more evenly viewed AEW programs from the beginning to end than I can remember. And I know Bryan always says that I oversell the fact that the show really does fall off as it goes on. Rampage is a little bit of a different story, but Dynamite the same way too. But looking at the numbers, the only negative for them was not being able to keep whatever the lead-in was, which I don't know. I think it was the Big Bang Theory. I think that's what it usually is, at least. But they did lose 129,000 viewers between the first and second segments. They started off at 1.078 million. That was the high water mark for the night, and then dropped to 949,000 for the second segment. So from there, it really does stay even. There was a dip right before the show was to go off the air. It was 854,000 for Jamie Hayter and Sky Blue during that segment that took place between 9:30 and 9:45, but it did bump back up again for Sammy Guevara and Bryan Danielson. The conclusion of that match finished with 861,000 viewers there. So with all that said, the wackiest AEW rating scenario came out of Canada, and Post Wrestling's John Pollock always keeps everybody in the loop on how TV does up north, and Wednesday's Dynamite's numbers just absolutely collapsed. This is only the English language estimate, as RDS carries the French language version, but Dynamite only did 33,000 viewers and 17,000 in the 25 to 54-year-old demographic on TSN2. That's down nearly 2/3 of their audience from last week, which was 93,000 and 46,500 between 25 and 54. There were apparently significant technical issues throughout the first 30 minutes of that program. Really choppy audio throughout the opening 8-man, wrote John Pollock, and it didn't correct itself until the MJF promo. So something completely out of their control, but still nasty to see when you're going to have to look and stare up at that number and realize that it was absolutely nothing to do with you that caused the havoc with all of that. But speaking of AEW, Rampage tonight, TBS here in the United States, pre-taped following Wednesday's Dynamite in Boston. Main event is going to be Orange Cassidy defending his All-Atlantic title against Lee Johnson. There are also two matches in the World Title Contenders Tournament, with Brian Cage facing Dante Martin and Roosh against Bandido. Lance Archer and Ricky Starks was scheduled until Archer attacked him backstage on Dynamite. So not sure if that match is going to be rescheduled to Wednesday. Not sure if it's just not going to happen now, and that's a way for somebody to get a bye and either do something, an angle leading into Winter is Coming, or, give yourself a little bit of time. Not exactly sure, but bottom line is there's only going to be 2 tournament matches tonight, plus Nyla Rose against Kayla Sparks, and that's it as far as matches go. They do tease a future matchup that has got to do with the FTW title. So we'll get into Smackdown and everything else going on in the news when we get back from break. Wrestling Observer Live.
Today, I am joined by Andrew Zarian, host of Mat Men, We're Live Pal, and Wrestling Observer Live on Sundays. Today, we're playing Whose Theme Song Is This? The songs will include Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Elias, Austin Theory, and Damage Control.
Got it.
Now you
okay.
have one shot to tell me whose lyric it is. We got the power, we got the rage, control the stage, control the cage. Who is it?
I'm going to go with Damage Control.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding. It's Damage Control. We got the rage. Next one up. Against the wall, the pressure's building, but no, I will never fall.
Can I just sing it in the Cody song? Against the wall, the pressure's building. Against the wall, the pressure's building, but no, I will never fail. I'm going to go with, oh man.
No, it's never fall.
Never fall.
Never fall.
Austin Theory?
Wrong.
Okay.
Wrong. It is Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
Watch
me shine. I should have known this.
All day, best believe I'm doing it my way. All day, victory staring me in my face all day.
Austin Theory?
And yes, you're right. Austin Theory. Here we go. How many times are going to kill me, try to put me in the grave?
I mean, that's quite aggressive. Now, how many times are they gonna kill me, try to put me in the grave? I think that's a little aggressive for Alexa Bliss. So Elias?
It's definitely Elias.
Oh, thank God.
I'm going in, Elias, amen. Which is crazy because I never realized that was the lyric. And that's the opening lyric to the song.
Like, I had no idea.
First thing you hear, right? Neither did I until I was doing the research for this game. Next, obviously, the last one. I'll rock, I'll rule, I'll rage. Had to flip the switch and detonate.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss.
Definitely Alexa Bliss.
Oh, good for me. Follow me on Twitter, at Andrew Zarian. Everywhere on this website, on WrestlingObserver.com. We do the Tuesday show. We're Live Pal with Garrett Gonzalez and myself. A lot of fun. We do Matt Men on Fridays now. And, of course, Wrestling Observer Live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Hit me up on Twitter and or on Instagram at _Denise Salcedo. Also, I invite you to check out my show, Speak Now Pro Wrestling, live 3 times a week here on F4W Online TV, on YouTube and Twitch. On Tuesdays, I go live to chat about NXT, Wednesdays, AEW Dynamite, and Fridays, Smackdown and Rampage. But until next time, enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live.
Welcome back to the show. Mike Sempervive here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. Yes, this is a Baltimore Colts throwback jersey, Gio Marchetti. Yes, it is. A lot of people ask, how did you become a fan of the Atlanta Falcons? Well, my father was a big New York Giants fan and lived outside Washington, D.C., and I had the foresight to know that that is a trash franchise. So I rooted for the Baltimore Colts until they left town in the middle of the night. And then I just picked a team at the time that was at the top of the alphabet. That was the Atlanta Falcons. Thank God Arizona was still in St. Louis at the time. But that's how my torture began. But you know what? I got to even things out here. Sorry for the ASMR kids that usually are looking forward to the Red Bull cracking open. There was none of that in the fridge, so we're going to have to go with the 20-ounce bottle of Coke here. There you go. I was going to actually get back into what was taking place tonight on TV when it comes to SmackDown, but then I opened up my email during the break and got this press release from Dana White. UFC President Dana White announced today. Sorry, I don't want to lie about what it says here in the copy, but UFC President Dana White today announced the launch of Power Slap, a sanctioned and regulated combat sport focused on competitive open hand striking. Formed by Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, and Craig Pilligan in partnership with the Ultimate Fighting Championship and Endeavor, and produced by Pilgrim Media Group, Power Slap will feature competitors from across the globe competing on the ultimate stage to showcase their power, technique, and resolve. And this is what stood out to me as interesting. The sport Power Slap will launch with an 8-episode series that will air on TBS in early 2023, where athletes will compete to earn a spot in the Cast House, the first Power Slap rankings, in future Power Slap matches, and world recognition. For open hand slap fighting, where people just sit there and slap each other with an open hand in the face and pray that they don't have an errant hand go off and shatter their eardrums. But coming to TBS, don't tell me that there's not a little bit of space on the schedule for AEW in some form. A second show, that is. I know Dynamite's fine, but Rampage, an all-women's show, an ROH show. Look, if they're going with cheaper programming, which obviously this is, and I'm not trying to shade the concept, although I think that's kind of cheap too, but, you know, when you have what is essentially going to be somebody else producing it for them, spending a lot of the costs, you know, I'm sure obviously TBS is going to kick out some money for all this sort of stuff, but I mean, you know, it's cheap reality-based programming with slap fighters in a house like it's the Ultimate Fighter, the Ultimate Slap Fighter. It's coming to be. So, yeah. So, who knows? Maybe we get to see a lead-in now for Rampage on Friday nights. I'm being dead serious there. You know, have that at 9 o'clock leading into Rampage at 10. I don't know, but that is something. I guess I'm really surprised that it's TBS not an ESPN outlet or something like that. But there you go. I figured that was something made for a Fox Sports or something like that. But this is what the new TBS and TNT and I guess Warner Brothers deal is all looking like now. So there you go. And before I get to Smackdown on Fox 2, Bandido's contract, a little bit about it has been revealed by Dave Meltzer in this week's Observer newsletter. He reported that it's a full-time deal for 3 years, but has a maximum number of dates on it. And while Meltzer didn't have the exact number of dates, he was told it is more matches than most AEW wrestlers work in a year now, so that shouldn't be an issue, but that could change if they start doing house shows. While Bandido was initially thought to be signing with AEW following his post-Chris Jericho Dynamite match contract offer, he did get an offer from WWE that he was mulling over before doing so, and in that time he went over to wrestle for Glate, and that match is up on YouTube. It was he and Commander in a match that was absolutely awesome, teaming together in a tag match. That was really, really cool, and that's up for free on Glate's YouTube site over at the Japanese-based company. It does a lot of shoot-style fighting. And the reasons for Bandido choosing AEW, pretty simple. They were family-related. His significant other does not want to move from Mexico, and he's got a child there. And working for WWE, where it's assumed he would begin in NXT, would require him to be based in Florida. And with any other main roster call-up, like any other main roster call-up, it's probably going to keep him away from home a lot longer and more than he wanted to be. So there you go, Bandido. Again, this is why would somebody sign with AEW over WWE? Some of the real life flexibility that you seem to get. And obviously, in WWE, you can get to a certain point. You can become a Randy Orton, an Undertaker, somebody like that, Rey Mysterio with limited dates and things like that. But as far as they're concerned, Bandido is a unknown commodity, so he's pretty much going to be at their beck and call, unfortunately. So probably the right move made for him going with AEW. Makes life a lot easier, especially going in and out of Mexico. Smackdown, Fox tonight, Gainbridge Fieldhouse in downtown Indianapolis. This is the home of the Indiana Pacers, and on paper, it is sounding like it's going to be a great atmosphere there. According to WrestleTix this morning, and this is what they put on their Patreon, there are 8,661 tickets distributed for the show, which would only be 482 shy of a sellout. So the way they have the building configured, it's 9,140 43-person capacity. The last time they were in the building, they drew 5,080 for a Raw on February 14th. So probably by the time the show begins, the deal is going to be sold out. Essentially, they're going to say it's sold out anyway. And the biggest thing on it that we know of right now is the New Day trying to prevent Jay and Jimmy Uso from breaking their record for being the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. It's kind of funny. They wouldn't be the longest reigning champions on Raw for their reign so far. That's only 175 days, but when you include SmackDown, now you're up to 481 days, at least according to Cage Match. And there's a little bit of a difference between Cage Match and WWE, apparently, as Cage Match has New Day holding their titles for 483 days. So they would not technically pass them tonight, but by the time the weekend is over, and I doubt there's going to be any house shows where the Usos will be dropping the belts, they should actually hold the record for the all-time longest reign in WWF Tag Team Championship history. Pre-brand split, Demolition had the longest one. They had a 478-day reign that ended up getting bested by the Brainbusters in 1988 and into 1989. So also tonight, the beginning of the World Cup on Fox, because the World Cup is beginning, and this is synergy or vulturism or a little bit of both. But there's supposed to be a trophy present, and everyone can stare at that trophy when they walk down to the ring and they walk back from the ring, and they can stare at it with desire. They can just kind of like, kind of just send, feels off to it, or maybe they can point at it. They'll probably be doing a little of that. So, you got a trophy just like the World Cup has a trophy, and somebody's going to win this thing at some point. Santos Escobar, repping Mexico, will be facing off against Japan's Shinsuke Nakamura, and gotta believe that's going to be really good. I'm going off Shinsuke's a lot older now, but those matches that he had with Andrade, the matches he had with Andrade's alter ego La Sombra, when they were feuding over the Intercontinental title in New Japan, that was good stuff. Santos Escobar is really good, and I'm not sure about Legado de Fantasma, the way they've been brought up to the roster, the way they were kind of thrown in there with Hit Row. It was not the best debut. It's not the auspicious debut for them, and so I hope they can kind of get some things back on track, and a Santos Escobar singles match with Shinsuke Nakamura should go a long way in kind of showing off his wares. Hard to believe that won't be a really, really good match. Hopefully, for me, being half Italian, I hope this thing does really ring true to life, and Giovanni Vinci is beaten in a qualifying match by somebody from North Macedonia. I know they don't have anybody from North Macedonia, but you could probably put a mask on somebody like they used to do to Spanky, Brian Kendrick, back in the day. They'd wrestle at the Meadowlands. He'd put on a mask. He'd be the New Jersey Devil, get a roll-up victory, big surprise. It was a Paul Heyman thing that they had going on. This would be another good time for Paul Heyman to break that back out because, yeah, Italy's not in the World Cup because they lost to North Macedonia at home. They did. It's pathetic. It's sad. Thank God Dom is not here. He'd be making fun of me in my headset right now, and the only thing I could be able to throw back at him is 4 World Cups. And that's cool, except they're not here now. Now I know how America feels all the time with this sort of stuff. But, oh, man, the pain, the agony. CM Punk's had pain and agony. But now he's found a way to fill a little bit of his downtime as he recovers from both his triceps injury and his time in AEW because of all these buyout rumors that are going on. Punk made his first public appearance out there since the ill-fated all-out post-show press scrum on September 5th. He returned to the MMA booth for Cage Fury Fighting Champions number 114 last night on the ESPN Plus UFC Fight Pass service. Punk's done commentary for the group in the past, and he did so right up until signing with AEW in August of 2021. Punk originally began working for CFFC in November of 2018, but he stopped announcing shows when he signed on. But now with his injury and the fact that his status with AEW is currently up in the air, he needed something to do. He did get in a little line as he was being introduced for the broadcast by saying, well, let's never do that again. So if you want to look at that as one of the tea leaves, but CM Punk back doing something that he really actually loves to do and enjoys. Hopefully nothing happens with that one. We'll be back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Today, I am joined by Andrew Zarian, host of Mat Men, We're Live Pal, and Wrestling Observer Live on Sundays. The second game we're playing is Rate This Look.
I am ranking it out of potatoes. So Dave Meltzer's scale, think of that, but instead of stars, we're just giving away potatoes.
This is JBL on Raw.
Look
with
at those
big baggy pants.
I think he was channeling like Vince from the early 2000s with that outfit. But you know what's amazing? The jacket fits fine. The pants are just these European wide legs that really went out of style in like 1999. So I don't know if he didn't know he was doing this appearance and he just had to find a random pair of pants in the back, or he was trying something new. I'm going to give it -2 potatoes.
All right, here we go. Next image.
Listen, I appreciate the bonkers outfits that Seth wears. I would never dare wear that outfit, but he gets 3 points just for having the cojones to wear that outfit, but his shoes are fantastic. So he gets 4 out of 5 potatoes.
Next up, his wife, Becky Lynch. How do you feel about this look?
She's wearing a puffy shirt from Seinfeld. I mean, obviously, it's a Jerry Seinfeld reference. I think it's atrocious. I give it -3 potatoes.
Worse than the JBL.
Way worse than JBL. Way worse. There's no escaping that. You know, if JBL's sitting behind a desk, you don't see the bottom half. He looks fine from the top. This is all top.
True. I think the JBL pants are worse. Next one up, we got Pretty Deadly.
Oh, this is a 6 out of 5 potatoes. No question about it.
Oh, you love it.
Oh, it's fantastic. These guys are awesome. Absolutely love it.
Would you sport this look, Andrew?
You know, I'm not a fan of exposing my nips publicly. But, you know, for these guys, kudos to them.
And we got one final one left. Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. How does this one make you feel?
You know, Pat could do no wrong. I don't have the will to attempt shorts with a tuxedo top. Now, I would say this is a 2 out of 5 potatoes. However, the fact that Vince wanted to send him home and he got yelled at for this look and they had to show that LeBron did a similar outfit and then it became okay. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
So before we go, Andrew, please let the people know where they can find you.
Oh, man. On Wrestling Observer, obviously, I do 3 shows a week. Mat Men, Wrestling Observer Live, and, of course, we're Live Pal, where Denise abandoned us and went to greater fame and fortune. I understand. Listen, I would have done the same, Denise.
And that's a wrap for this game. We will be back with some more. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live, and I'll catch you on the next vid.
Back on the show, Mike Sempervive with you, Wrestling Observer Live here on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. A score 1 in the win column for Game Changer Wrestling. AAA Mega Champion El Hijo Del Vikingo will be making his American Wrestling debut on December 16th for GCW. Vikingo will be appearing at GCW's America's Most Wanted event, taking place at the Ukrainian Cultural Center in Los Angeles. The 25-year-old Vikingo, who has been with AAA since 2017, has been mega champion for 11 months, obtained his U.S. work visa last month, but a dislocated elbow he sustained on October 31st has kept him out of action since, delaying his American debut. He is expected to be cleared for action well before the December 16th date. GCW's only announced 1 match for that show so far, and it's a trios match that on paper is awesome. It's Gringo Loco and Los Vipers facing Aries, ASF, and Commander. And I mentioned Commander earlier on, a team with Bandido that he had in Glade. he's something else. And I've seen Antonio San Francisco live. He is incredible as well, too. So that is a hell of a match, whatever else they're going to add here. As of now, that they've also announced Pagano is going to be coming in. GCW World Champion Nick Gage is going to be there. Masha Slamovich, Jack Cartwheel, Sawyer Wreck, Nick Wayne, Joey Janela, and Effie are all signed up for the show. So good news there for GCW. I guess still bad news for NWA leading into Hard Times 3 here. That is taking place this weekend. We've had Luke Hawks on. We've had Joe Galli on talking about the event. But unfortunately, much of the talk has been around Billy Corgan and Nick Aldis leaving the NWA. We've had talk about Empower and them not holding another show. Billy Corgan gave his thoughts on the matter, and Bryan and I both gave our thoughts on Billy's thoughts, which were, you probably should have parsed your words a little bit more, probably didn't have to say some of the things that you did and kind of frame it in the way that you did, basically making it sound to a lot of people that there is not a lot of female wrestling talent out there to actually hold an Empower card. Those people would say you're just not looking hard enough, you're not digging hard enough, you're not paying enough, whatever it is. But Trevor Murdoch chimed in, and I will say Trevor Murdoch was a close ally and student of Harley Race. That's going to come up here again in a little bit, but I want you to, that's should be noted about Trevor Murdoch, because what Nick Aldis says a little bit later on. But with a interview, my friend Sean Radican over at PW Torch interviewed Trevor. He said, quote, when it came down for the second Empower, there isn't a book out there that just has every great female wrestler out there, and we can just look into it and go, we get this person, that person, this person. Granted, I know there's a ton of fans out there that can give me a list of 10 or 20 people that they know in their area that can fit on a show. In the same sense, I understand you're fans of these women, but maybe they haven't done what they need to do to stand out, to get the attention that they need to. He also says there's more factors and people jump on the negative and all that sort of stuff. But again, I don't know if that was needed to be said. There is actually a book. It's the PWI 150 that just came out with a bunch of female wrestling talent. In fact, 150 names of them, some of which you couldn't get because they're signed with other companies or they are in Japan right now. But it's not like there's not other people out there. So I'm not sure if Trevor Murdoch helped the cause there by saying anything. Now, get over to another one of Harley Race's, I want to say one of his favorite students. Trevor Murdoch was an actual student of Harley's at the old WLW in Eldon, Missouri, and actually worked at Harley Race's bar at that time as well, too. They were very, very close. But Nick Aldis also was close to Harley Race and certainly has a spiritual connection to him when it comes to professional wrestling. And this is up on the main page of our site today. In fact, right now, Ian Carey posted it up. Nick Aldis says he's not sure how he would justify the current NWA product to Harley Race. On Sunday, Aldis posted a since-deleted video to his Instagram stating that he was leaving the company. Those who saw the video say Aldis called the NWA product, quote, embarrassing, and said he didn't want to be part of it anymore. The two-time former NWA World Heavyweight Champion spoke with Sam Roberts recently and clarified his comments. Quote, it certainly wasn't intended to be this burial of the NWA or anything like that, unquote. Why would I do that? I would be burying myself. Aldis would later discuss the NWA product straying away from what he originally envisioned it to be. And this is a long write-up that they have. I'll give you a couple of notes from it. And Aldis said he felt the product went downhill after NWA 73 and him losing the world title. And how happy was Nick Aldis to lose the title? Well, he says, quote, I was presented with the question, what's different now? Why is it not working now compared to what? And I sort of went, again, you're forcing me into giving you an answer that paints me in this awful light, but I'm going, the difference is you had a world title angle that people were interested in, and now you don't. So as soon as the belt went off of him and got in the mix with Tyrus and Murdoch and Cardona, it lost some appeal, says Nick Aldis here. He also says the title picture did improve when Matt Cardona was added to the mix, but after Cardona was injured, things fell apart again. He said he was then accused of lobbying for himself to get the belt back. And Aldis said that in late September, his wife, Mickie James, told him about a conversation she'd had with Billy Corgan. He says, this is Aldis, quote, he and Mickie had a private conversation that he didn't realize I was privy to, and goes, your husband is pressuring me to put the belt back on him, and you know for me, the day I went, this isn't going to work. Aldis continued to say that the NWA product also began to go downhill when Corgan became more hands-on with the product. Quote, look, the sad truth is, and I don't want to spend the whole time talking about this, but basically things got harder when he became more hands-on because at first he was quite hands-off, quite remote, and he was just sort of lending ideas and sort of notes here and there. Suddenly it turned into something else, and I'll try to be as nice as I can about this. He's just not very good at it. I'm sorry, he's not very good at it. I added the just there. I shouldn't have done that. I wish it wasn't the case, but again, it's not really for me to say. It's the audience to say, and my decision to leave has come from the fact that the audience has left in droves. It's just not a good decision to be there anymore. It's not a viable option. And says, quote, look, I can't get around it. I'm not saying all of it, but there was enough of it that, for me, didn't pass the Harley race test. And I know people will hear that and be like, Harley, what the hell? But you have to understand Harley race wanted nothing to do with the NWA because of what it had been prior, because it had some pretty dark days. And then talks about wanting to be associated with, again, asking Nick Aldis to come to Missouri and talk about all that stuff about being the NWA champion. And well, there you go. There you go. Once again, we're going into Hard Times 3 here this weekend, and the only talk going on is from Nick Aldis and Billy Corgan back and forth, and about a pay-per-view that doesn't even exist anymore with Empower. So just not the way that they wanted to go into things. Maybe this somehow will be a positive for them. I don't know how it's drummed up any interest at all, unfortunately. So, you know, there's more of what Nick Aldis has to say up on the main page of the WrestlingObserver.com website. I told you about that. I don't know what promotion he could possibly go to that Harley Race wouldn't be spinning in his grave a little bit over. I mean, there's very few. I mean, there's almost none that don't bring in something that somebody from the old school probably wouldn't like, you know, just, I don't know. I don't know. It's too bad because we could use a third option, and I don't know if ROH is going to be that option once Tony Khan rolls it out, but we do need a third promotion here. I'm not saying that we absolutely have to have one with all the indies around, but it would be kind of nice to actually have a third national option. And I know, well, there's Impact, but unfortunately Impact's in the same boat as the NWA. There's been so much damage done to that name over time that I just don't know. I'm not even sure ROH really. And again, it's going to depend because it's got the money behind it with Tony Khan, because he's got a lot of drive behind it and he wants to do something with it. Maybe it can overcome its name. But unfortunately, you know, the NWA, TNA, Impact, ROH, I don't know how much it means right now. If Tony Khan were to rebrand Ring of Honor and bring it back under a different name with just a completely different look, again, I don't know if that probably wouldn't be the best thing either, I guess, since you have AEW to worry about. So, I mean, the tape library and all that other stuff that you get, but I don't know what the answer is when it comes to the NWA at all, other than they better hope that all this stuff is really, really far behind them here, and they can actually drum up a little bit of interest in those shows and some more shows moving forward. But some people that are going to be wrestling on that NWA show include Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green, even though she's got one foot out the door to WWE, had her last match in Impact, which aired last night. And according to Fightful Select, and this is the Entertainment Tonight portion of the proceedings. They were on hand to wish congratulations to Deonna Purrazzo and Steve Macklin, who got married recently. Part of the guest list who made the wedding were Green and Cardona, along with Britt Baker and Adam Cole, Wendy Chu, Santana Garrett, Zoe Lucas. Is Zoe Lucas in the States, like, on a regular basis? If she is, people should be using her. They really should. Tasha Steeles and referees Adrian Butler and Sean Bennett were also credited as to going to the wedding. So congratulations to Deonna and Steve Macklin on their nuptials there. So all the best to them. I'm sure I was actually going to run down and take a look at the WWE Performance Center. 15 people that they signed on, the non-wrestlers that they signed up from their NIL program, but the hell with it. I had this sitting here because I was looking at it earlier on, going through some stuff, and it's the WWE program number 225 there with Lex Luger and Yokozuna on the cover. This was from the Friday, October 14th show that took place at the Baltimore Arena. And I know I'm holding up the card for everybody that's driving down the road to not be able to see there. But you see The Undertaker, Yoko in the casket match, Jim Neidhart and Bret Hart for the world title. Yes, that actually happened. Lex Luger, Tatanka. And you see the rundown of the card there. But also, when you would go to shows, just like now when people are handing out their cards and different flyers for events, they did that back in the day too. And they went around and everybody for the Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation. This is pre-Maryland Championship Wrestling, but look at that lineup for tonight. On this night, November 11th, Friday night at the Catonsville National Guard Armory. Catonsville, by the way, is where everybody runs at UMBC, that Chesapeake Employers Arena, same spot. Look at that bad boy. Brutus the Barber Beefcake against the Warlord in the main event. And Road Warrior Hawk along with the Ultimate Comet against Hollywood Bobstar and Lucifer. Because you need the money. We'll be back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Today, I am joined by Andrew Zarian, host of Mat Men, We're Live Pal, and Wrestling Observer Live on Sundays. The first game we're playing is Whose Shoes Are These? So are you ready, Andrew? Because I know you're the shoe guy.
I am the shoe guy. I'm the king of loafers.
Image number 1. Whose shoes are these?
Oh, Seth Rollins.
Oh, no. I'll give you another guess.
Oh, man. I would say mine. I really wish it would be Dave Meltzer. But I know the answer is going to be no there. Ethan Page.
You were close.
Oh, I know who it is.
Kick yourself in the head when you see the image. Ricky Starks.
You know what? I should have said Ricky. I should have said Ricky. But you know what? Amazing loafers.
Who is wearing these?
Ah, okay. So the pants are not that thin. Are not that skinny. So I'm going to go, this is an older picture. Those are just traditional dress shoes.
And I'll give you 2 guesses per each one.
All right. Can you give me a hint? Can I get, is it an AEW guy or WWE guy?
AEW guy.
Wow. Okay. That's shocking. All right. I'm going to go with Wardlow.
Incorrect.
Okay. AEW guy wearing dress slacks. Looks like they're at a reception or a wedding. Go with Kenny Omega.
The answer we were looking for was actually Andrade El Idolo.
I should have known this too. I'm so disappointed in myself. But you know what? I'm gonna say this. I would expect better from Andrade on those slacks.
Who is wearing these shoes?
That has to be Seth Rollins.
No, one more.
No, get out of here. Who dresses like that? Who would wear those except him? Man, purple pants.
Think larger. Think larger.
Oh, larger, big, nice pleats. So it has to be a tall guy. I mean, are we going? I cannot imagine as Braun Strowman.
No, I mean, think larger in terms of fame.
Ooh, larger in fame. Oh, Dwayne. Dwayne would wear those shoes. Yeah.
Correct.
Knew it. Beautiful
Definitely
loafers.
Dwayne. Who's wearing these shoes?
All right, got an ankle tattoo. Those are suede shoes. Baron Corbin?
No, one more.
WWE or AEW?
Former WWE. Not currently active.
Not currently active. Former WWE. With an ankle tattoo, wearing loafers. I'm at a loss on this one. I'm going to throw a name. anybody, Edge.
And it is actually Batista.
Batista, you know what? I should have gotten that. Very disappointed in myself.
Who's wearing these shoes?
I want it to be Michael P.S. Hayes in the worst way. Dude, look at those pants.
You're going to be shocked.
It is not. Is it John Cena?
It is definitely John Cena. And that's a wrap for this game. We will be back with some more. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of Wrestling Observer Live. And I'll catch you on the next vid.
Back on the show, Mike Sempervive, Wrestling Observer Live, putting a bow on this thing. At least the weekday edition of the program. Myself and Bryan Alvarez will be back with you on Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific. If you just can't wait and you need a little bit more Wrestling Observer Live, don't worry. It is here for you 7 days a week. Mr. Jim Valley is going to be in this chair tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 Pacific. And also, Andrew Zarian fills this slot, 6 p.m. Eastern Time and 3 o'clock Pacific. That is on Sunday evenings. And as I'm staring here, more at this Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation flyer, also appearing on the undercard of Brutus the Barber Beefcake against the Warlord. And I love how they actually write this out here. And not as much this one. Former WCW Tag Team Champion Cactus Jack. No, it's the next one. The man who Bob Backlund gave up to and former WWF Heavyweight Champion, the Iron Sheik. I can just see that being some of the copy that they send down to local promoters that they have to use when introducing the Iron Sheik. He made the Bob Backlund go ahead and give up. And Bob Backlund was back in the news there, and since this was 1994, and they had to deal with him and Bret Hart not long before this, but you know, I wonder if Dennis Corluzzo had a show in New Jersey on Saturday, because they're not back until Sunday, where you get Road Warrior Hawk against the Warlord and what was sure to be a technical classic alongside Brutus the Barber Beefcake against the Iron Sheik. Where was the show taking place, you may say, on Sunday, November 13th? The new Bingo Bills on the corner of Eastern Avenue and Stemmers Run Road in Essex, Maryland. Oh, Essex. So, yeah, you want to say, oh, where do they get that with running bingo halls all the time? There were a lot of bingo halls, I guess, in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Maryland that these people love to run, so there you go. And I don't hear any music. I don't know what's going on, but I know we're getting close to the end of this show. So I shall talk to you again. Thank you, Producer John. Thank you, Producer Daniel. We shall talk to you all again after a while.